How's it going, guys? DJ Triple M here on behalf of UK Soca Scene. Notting Hill Carnival, only what, 2.5 months away, and all the mass bands, everybody is in full gear, full steams ahead. I've got 3 lovely ladies here with me. I'm just going to let them introduce themselves. So, first and foremost, just state your name, where you're from, who you represent, and what is it that you do.
Okay, my name is Symone. I am the band leader, designer, makeup artist for Genesis Mass UK, and I've been running Genesis for about 12 to 13 years.
Okay.
My dad started Genesis in 1980, so we'll be celebrating 34 years, and yeah, that's just me at the moment.
Are you actually the director or the designer?
Yeah, well, band leader, director, owner, designer,
everything.
I'm juggling everything. I'm a multitask woman. Yeah, so I make my costumes, and actually the Carnival Village is where we'll be making our costumes this year.
Wicked. On to you.
On to me. My name is Flora. I am Nigerian, and I'm the owner, designer, all rolled into one kind of mastermind behind Mass of the Difference, and that's a section of Winter Clips. So I literally design them, I make the costumes, I oversee production, and I wouldn't go as far as saying I do makeup. But I pretty much spearhead the entire section.
Is it a team of you that's doing it?
There is a team,
yeah. But
my decision, it's fine. I don't like it. But as much as the team definitely help out with production and distribution, when it comes to the designing and actual making of the costumes, I do the vast majority of making, and I do all the designing as well.
Okay. And finally,
I am Kelly. I'm from Bacchanalia, UK. To be honest, we actually got involved with Carnival with Symone's dad. That's how I got involved. Right at the beginning. Not at the beginning, obviously 36 years ago, I was born here. But Symone's dad was my first Notting Hill experience, and you sort of look at Carnival then and what it is now, and obviously we'll get to that, but I started on my own in 2005, so it's been a while. I am the band leader. Pretty much exactly what these ladies are doing. My makeup, creative director. This year we're slightly different in that it's not just me. I've actually brought on 2 new designers to work with us. So there is a team of us. We built it up over the years, and we're quite happy where we are at the moment.
Fantastic. So, ladies, Notting Hill Carnival, like I said, almost 2.5 months away. How are you guys preparing for that? What are you bringing out this year? If you just like to tell everybody.
Well, Carnival technically starts as it finishes. There's never. I know a lot of people sort of misinterpret it and sort of look at it as it's 2 or 3 months before everyone starts getting into it. It's not. You literally start as it's finished. You start bringing out your themes. You start advertising it, and obviously everyone has stepped up their game, realizing you need to be constantly marketing it.
Starting off very, very early.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you need to keep your masqueraders interested. And having them interested and engaged throughout the year, it just helps that process, because they all feel like it's their thing, it's part of their heritage. They bring their friends, and that's kind of how it starts. But you think of your designs literally as you're doing this year.
Yeah.
So I already know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing next year. I've designed the whole one already.
So you guys are like literally planning years and years.
Yeah, I designed this year's costumes last year, and so I'm on next year this year.
You have to.
You have to. You've got no choice now, because the thing is, buying materials and planning and all of that takes time.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of stuff overseas, so I have to make sure I can access it and weigh up how much it's going to cost, so I know exactly when I'm doing it, I know how much it's going to cost. I can let people know this is what you're going to be paying for our package.
And not just that, but I'm quite certain in saying that the 3 of us kind of do carnivals and other bits and pieces aside of Notting Hill Carnival.
Right.
So we will have projects running essentially in 365.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might not be known to everybody. Maybe the group in Notting Hill might not know that I'm doing something else, but with projects constantly running, there's no time to stop and think, oh, I'll do that next time. It has to literally be.
Flora and I were in Nigeria promoting the Port Harcourt Carnival with 20 other girls.
Yeah.
I do Cayman
Carnival in Nigeria.
Yeah. I do Cayman Carnival, Trinidad Carnival. I design for different carnivals all over. So it's non-stop.
So you guys are literally all over the globe, I'm assuming.
No, we do St. Vincent, and next year, well, none are really supposed to. Next year. We're doing St. Vincent at the moment, and they're before Notting Hill.
Yeah.
So this year, what are your themes? What are you guys coming out with?
Genesis is doing the journey, and it's really came out of the celebration of 50 years of Notting Hill Carnival.
Yeah.
And we're sort of portraying the different locations where Carnival existed, starting in Africa, the Caribbean, and now here in the UK. So our costumes sort of reflect that.
And Flora?
And our band theme is Infinity, and my section under that is Limitless. And I've got three sections sort of focused around different endless and limitless aspects of life. So we've got war, we've got passion, kings, and vintage. So it kind of touches on all of those.
Right.
I'm doing Presence of the Past, which is very similar to Symone's theme from a different angle. I'm actually celebrating the traditional characters from Trinidad Carnival. We selected a few that we thought we wanted to tell the story about those, and we just added like a slightly more updated twist to it. So that's what we're doing.
Good stuff. I just want to hear it from your own point of view. What does mass making, what does Carnival mean to you as a person? Starting off with Kelly, of course.
Okay, I'm going to be here all night. I grew up with this. My first memory, it's actually, I actually put it on my page not too long ago. My first memory is seeing a fancy Indian costume in school. You are literally brought up in the schools to make your own costumes. You use newspapers, anything accessible and available, cheap, free, and you use it to create something that's, yours, part of where you come from.
Right.
So to me, it's part of me. It's part of where I come from, and sort of coming here and having that opportunity to share that with everyone, because I look at Notting Hill as, it's not a Caribbean thing. We are in a multicultural city, one of the biggest in the world.
Yes.
It's a platform for us to launch off that and take it globally. Hard work, long tracks and whatever, but we'll get there. But that's how I sort of look at this. We're a small group, and I think, we've come a long way, 50 years. It's a long way. Not as far as we probably should get or be, but we're getting there very, very slowly. And I think, every year the standards go up, but I'm deviating, but what it means to me, it's who we are, it's where we come from. All of us carry something from where we came from. Not everyone in this country was from here. They come from different places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Carnival started in Europe, as far as I sort of researched it, and we came down to the Caribbean, we took it, we made it something else, and we brought it back. So
it's just kind of, it's dwelled into you from such a young age. Obviously, you just brought it over here now.
It's important. It comes from day dot. I mean, it's slavery, it's indentured servants, it's hard work, it's literally blood running through you.
Flora?
Well, I'm not Caribbean, so I didn't have that sort of influence, but I live literally on the doorstep of Carnival. So I've been going to Carnival ever since I can remember. There's never been a summer, well there was one and I regretted it. One summer I went on holiday and I've never forgiven my mum for that. But apart from that, it's always been a part of my summer. It's the kind of combination of all the events over the summer. And for me, it embodies a feeling of euphoria, that release of your inhibitions for that 1 or 2 days, and the ability to say, you know what, we all go through our trials and tribulations as a nation, as a country, as a race, as an individual, however which way you want to group people, and that is the one moment that I can say, you know what, I don't care today, because I'm going to let it go, I'm going to enjoy myself and truly just appreciate that moment of loving the person on your right, the person on your left, the person behind you, and nothing matters. And for me, I say, people normally say it happens once a year, we know obviously it's a few times for us, but that thing that traditionally does come once a year is like no other.
Best feeling ever, right?
It's like no other. I cannot, and Kelly was right, as much as I'm not Caribbean, Soca Carnival's in my veins, I don't think it's ever going to wash out. I hope not.
Finally?
I would say I am Carnival. And I'll say that because I came from a grassroots background, with my dad being at the beginning, the very first Notting Hill Carnival in London. So I have that history, I've been brought up with that history. The main designers in Trinidad, like Saldana. They were sitting in the yard with my dad. I was around that, and so for me, Carnival is culture, it's history, it's legacy, it's love, and it's passion. It's bringing people together. And one of the things that I've experienced all my life is that it brings people that you wouldn't normally talk to. It brings people together. It creates families. I mean, I've had 4 weddings out of Genesis. People just come in and say, what's that one? Put me up, and right? So we've had babies born in through the band. It's life, and that's what it means to me. Without that, I couldn't see. I don't even know what I would be doing. I don't know how I'd be living, but I couldn't see that not being a part of my life and part of my world. And I'm very happy that I'm involved in Carnival, and I hope to pass that on to my nieces and nephews and future kids and what have you. And hopefully that legacy of what it means to me and my dad and all the others that came before us will pass to the future generations.
So I mean, it's just all about unity, and everybody's involved. Literally, everybody can be involved. I mean, you guys have lived Carnival, breathed Carnival, literally grown up into Carnival. What's your views on how it's changed over the current, I say, decade or so? I mean, there's been a few riots here and there, especially in Notting Hill. I wouldn't say a lot of negativity, but some negativity has been around it. I mean, what's your views on that, really?
Well, Carnival, the thing is, alright. I would say that you have to look at Carnival in several different ways. Notting Hill Carnival is very unique because you have people who come for the mass, people who come for Pan and the procession, and you've got people who come for the sound systems, and you've got people who just come. And all of that is happening in one small place. And our culture of mass means more to a certain community than it does to another. Yes. And so what they will do, the media I'm talking about, will make it seem as if one thing is more important than the other. Right. And the aspect of what we do is not so much a priority in the media. The art form, what you're doing today, that doesn't get portrayed or put on TV as much as the riots and this disturbance on, cultural racism, blah, 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 blah. So it's looked in, for me, I look at Notting Hill Carnival in several different ways. And I think that it's hard to pinpoint change because of those things. Do you get what I mean? It's difficult. So our arena has changed in terms of the art form, and then the people attending has changed, and why people are coming to Carnival has changed. Okay. So it's quite complex. For me, it's complex to talk about it in that sense. So I don't know.
Very nice.
Okay. So to agree with what Symone said, I do think it's important to look at Carnival from different standpoints, and as much as violence is down, because I think the police are making a much more concerted effort on that with respect to sort of restricting the movements of known troublemakers coming into London from the outskirts and from certain parts. Yeah. It's changed a lot. I think there are a lot more mass. Great, it gives a plethora of sort of costume options, as it were. There will be some drawbacks, but I think with any festival, any event, anything of that scale, change is inevitable. Yeah. It's what you do with the change, and it's how you embark on that and push it forward. So I think as a community we need to work together to make it a much more enjoyable experience for the people that truly care about it, because Symone's right, we have very, very different groups of people that come down, and I think it's much better if you actually highlight the main areas of Carnival. Yes. Carnival started with mass. That is what it was about. The sound systems came in afterwards. And so I think as much as sort of every area gets coverage, it should, I think the proportions or the percentages of coverage could be different. Yes. But as I said, with any event comes change. It is just how we embark on that will determine the future success and the longevity of Carnival.
Kelly, would you agree?
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think it's completely right what they're saying. The only thing I would add is, I think where problems arise is lack of education to the general public.
Yes.
This has been going on for 50 odd years, and yet there are people that live outside here. We're in Notting Hill. There are people that live here that still have no idea what Notting Hill is, what a carnival is, what's happening on the streets below. all they see is noise, it's music they don't understand, and obviously the dancing and all of that. The view from their perspective is pretty bad because they don't understand it. I think if there was some way to extend some kind of education where, you know, when you look at the news, what you get, all that's highlighted is
the negative.
The negative.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
and obviously that sells. So you see like 5 or 6 people got stabbed or whatever. No one sort of looks at last year's statistics and say, well, actually it's down from last year. It's a lot better. It's much more controlled. They've made all these measures, and you know, this year was actually much better than the last, 5 years or whatever. None of that actually happens. That happens within our own arena. We understand because we attend the meetings, we see what's happening, we get to voice our views. But I think that's a fundamental thing that we have to address, because we are in Notting Hill, we're in the public, and unless we educate people as to what is happening, it will never change.
So I mean, just to touch on that, so like you said, we're in the heart of Notting Hill, the heart of Carnival. There are a lot of people who don't even know what soca is. Some of them pack their bags and go on holiday.
Yeah.
How do you reach out to them people? How do you educate them? What do you think you can do?
I think, and this is something that Flora sort of touched on. I think, to be fair, we have to come together as a group, as a team, and we don't. For us, it's more of a slight competition amongst ourselves too. You're targeting somewhat part of the same audience. You have your issues. You have to focus on funding. You have like a lot. Bringing out a band is a massive production that you have to think about, and it takes up a lot of time. But that being said, I think Carnival itself, there is a board. Part of their remit should be, okay, so we need to educate the residents here. That's the first thing I think their remit should be. We need to educate the residents here. We need to tell them step by step what we're doing, why we do it, how it happens, how they can become involved.
Yeah.
The more you get them involved, the better it becomes for everyone.
And you never know, they may really enjoy it, you know what I mean? Some of them, they go to Glastonbury Festival, they go to different, you know what I mean, whatever it may be. Carnival is almost similar to that, in a way.
Well, we did that event, we did a promotional event at the top of Ladbroke Grove in Sainsbury's. Took the costumes, put a banner up, and we're just giving people flyers, and we thought, let's try and target the locals.
Yes.
And to our surprise, it was, I didn't know you could just wear a costume. Oh,
we get that all the time.
Really? Oh my gosh, where can I join? And some people generally just didn't know. They thought it was quite a closed thing, and it's just
West Indian.
a black thing, or West Indian thing, whatever you want to call it. And we gathered information just from that, so we can let people know where we are, what we're doing, and it was successful in that way. But we can't do that all year round. We need the support of the councils and the company to support those types of activities, like Kelly said, to get the word out there that anyone can take part and anyone can get involved. Even if you don't want to wear a costume, you can help make them, or you can help steward, or we give drinks and things like that. Anything, you can do anything and be a part of it.
So you've got, within a mile radius, I would say you've got somebody who's capable of probably designing a costume, somebody who's definitely capable of, making some kind of carnival theme or whatever you can name it. How do you reach out to those people? What do you think you can do? Like, what events can we do? Who can we talk to reach out to those people?
Be looking at me. So.
I would say the councils. I would say the council has a responsibility as they host Notting Hill Carnival, and it's 2 boroughs, Westminster and Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, to come together and make a residence event, and get in contact with us and say, right, you put on some sort of show, or I don't know, and maybe even all over London that could happen, so people outside of Notting Hill can get involved. But I think the council and the government have a responsibility because they fund it. So
it makes sense.
So
I mean, and I'm sure I speak for the 3 of us, but I do events during the summer and sort of following the launch to advertise the costume, as Symone said, at Sainsbury's in Ladbroke Grove, doing our own thing. So off our own back, we do attend events. They're not always traditionally Caribbean. As far as I'm concerned, the more obscure the better, because I want to go for a completely different market and really open it up to people that wouldn't. We can, but a lot of, I know myself personally, a lot of the designers and bands are self-funded, if not fully, a substantial amount.
Yeah.
So A lot of hours, full time.
Yeah.
So we're struggling that 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or 10 to 6 alongside making the costume, alongside marketing the costume, and eventually getting out on the road. So we've got quite a lot on our plates already, and we still do what we can to push and promote it. And I mean, when
you're juggling the 9 to 5, you're doing the mass making, you're organisers of huge mass bands. I mean, yeah, definitely, that's a huge workload. Besides the whole mass making and whatnot, I want to go for a bit personal question. So what do you guys actually do on a 9 to 5? Or 8 to 4? Whatever.
Well, I work as a makeup artist. I work for an organic store called Neil's Yard, and I'm senior sales there in Westwood.
I comment to you.
well, I've actually just got a new job. I work for Apple now on the Genius Bar, so I'm currently in training.
I comment to you.
I'm working for a hedge fund in the city.
Yeah, I don't know. So, moving on from that, I mean...
Swanky job.
Yeah. Trinidad Carnival. The biggest carnival in the world.
No.
One of.
Okay.
One of.
Yeah.
One of, yeah.
Maybe the greatest show.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely agree with that. So, I mean, the most, what I've been seeing from the Trinidad bands, they do a lot of private sections, a lot of sections which are not necessarily owned by that particular band. And I've been seeing that coming across the borders on to UK soil. What are your views on that? What are your opinions of that? I mean, can you see that developing in the near future as well?
We have a long way to go to be compared to Trinidad Carnival.
Of course,
a long way to go. I mean, if you look at Trinidad Carnival, it's a massive supply and demand. There is way more demand than there is supply. It's a country, it's a whole country producing carnival.
Yes.
Here, it's a tiny part of a country, like not even a dot. It's super tiny, producing something that, you know, as Flora said, is self-funded. Trinidad, they are sponsored left, right, and center because it's the whole country. So it's so unfair in that I always look at it like at the beginning when I did interviews, you sort of sit there and you do the pros and the cons of both. Whereas they're Trinidad and like everyone flocks to it, you know, it's international, everyone knows it. Here, we're on an international platform. They're not. That's the main advantage that we have. Where we fail is we don't have the resources to utilize that to the best that we probably could. You know, and we'll get to costume prices and all of that, but where it's very hard. Like if you're funding this yourself, when you look at the cost of production, the cost of bringing out the band, there's trucks, there's DJs, there's materials. Costume materials alone, that's a whole subject on this. It's very hard, and every year it goes up in price. You know, it's all people look at it and think, oh, it's feathers, bikini, beads. Why am I paying £200? And again, we'll get to that. But even so, it's massive cost. And Trinidad dollars to pounds, it's 10 to 1. Funded in such a way that everything is given to them on a plate, so the markup on what they produce is much higher by producing less. What we're doing is the complete opposite. We're adding so much more and getting nothing back in return. This is the most thankless thing I've ever done. not thankless in that, you know, you're not getting, you know, thankful in that, you know, when you get it out on the road and you take that step back. I have a moment every year on the road. You take a step back and you're like, oh my God, we do a victory dance with your team, you cry, you know, you have those moments.
I get that. Come on, Symone. And I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Like that, Finally, we did it.
Because the lead up to that is literally blood, sweat, and tears. I have scars on my hand right now, and it's awful.
Hot glue.
You know, when you're tired, like 4 in the morning, and it's dropping all over you, it's tears. But I feel here we're much closer to it in that it really is part of us. It's not really something you sit back and think, I'm doing this because I want to make money, or I want to, you know, there's nothing commercial about this, nothing at all. It is literally who we are. We're trying to do something to better what was already there and to take it to the next level by keeping our footprint firmly on the ground, but saying, look, you know, this is what's been done, but I want to do this, and you know, that's kind of how I see. It's not comparable, but and it should never be. But at the same time, yeah, there's things that you learn from designers you see there. Like you see, like I've seen and met people, and you sort of sit down and you look at them, and you look at what they're using, the materials, and it's the simplest of things: paper, cardboard, wire bending on the whole. It's surreal. And like even when I sit back to make masks, I never really look at or stop to think, oh, I wonder how the guys did this in this band. You actually sit there and think, how do I make this work?
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to get this to curve? How am I going to get this to flip up? How am I going to get this to stand up? How am I going to get it stiff?
It's actually a science.
Yeah,
it really is. No, seriously.
But you do learn from obviously the people in China, because they're very talented, very creative, and I've seen people use bubble wrap, spray it in different colors, and you get like different effects, and it's crazy. I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, going back to the initial question, why do you think there are a lot of private sections within the band? Do you think it's a good thing? What's your opinion of it?
In Trinidad, I will say from my experience that it is a better business model for band leaders to privatise their sections. And I'm trying it this year myself actually. I've got 2 sections, three that are private. Yeah, and the reason behind that is, from what we've said we're doing, it's too much to do, and because it is a business in the Caribbean as a whole, it's a better business model if you can have less to manage, and that person will have their network. That person, it's a smarter strategy to bring more people involved. And I think if that does happen here in London, it's possible we will get more people involved. And you see the growth of the designers, and especially younger designers who are coming out of college, they want to get involved, and they've got their network. So I think that's what's happening in Trinidad, especially with a lot of new, like Vogue was in Trinidad about 2 weeks ago. It was a massive fashion show, and they had costumes, and so they're being recognised as professional, worthy, being on Vogue News, in a magazine. The attention is there now. So the artistry is growing, and so I think if you've got more people in the art form, it makes sense for bands, big bands with 5,000-6,000 people, to have people who can take care of 200-300 costumes. Why take it on? Why take it on yourself where you can do? So I'm trying it myself this year. It's the first time I'm trying it. We've got PY Sawyer, she's doing her section. We've got a t-shirt section that's franchised out, and we may actually have someone from the Cayman coming to do a section as well.
Right.
I'm going to test it. If it works,
like you said, it should be a better business model, right?
Hopefully,
so,
will be.
Flora, you yourself, you actually.
I come from the opposite end of things too.
So these guys are band leaders.
And I have my section, and from my perspective, as much as having a section is still, as much as I respect these women and all those that have bands very much, having a section is still a daunting thing.
Of course.
On one side, financially, yes, it's still a task, but I don't have the responsibility that these 2 ladies and other band leaders have. And it does give me that foot in the door that I need as a designer, and as I want as a designer. So I completely agree. I think the model works a lot better in the Caribbean because they've been doing it for longer. And I agree with what Kelly said earlier on. I wouldn't necessarily compare Notting Hill to Trinidad, because even if you look, just to take one point, they have thousands more masqueraders, whereas we have thousands of hundreds of thousands of spectators.
Yes. The ratio is so different.
It's so different, so I wouldn't compare it like that. But a carnival's a carnival.
It's true.
So in terms of the costume side of things, I've seen all of your work, absolutely fantastic. Everybody, I think I want to make a question myself, just so I'll be on the shop. What are your influences, each and every one of you? Let's go.
Mine is fashion. I actually did a course at Central St. Martin's when I had just come here. So even though I work in finance, I did have a creative angle always, but it started in fashion. Obviously coming out with Symone's dad all those years ago, and sort of looking and thinking, I want to do this, and then you think, well, how do I do this? I actually came from my husband was doing their sound, So I've always been on the soundtrack, but it's a great place to sort of sit and watch what's happening. And you know, we did that for a few years. Well, he continues to do it. And then, you know, one day we sort of sat down and I'm talking and I'm saying, oh my God, and we could do this. And he's like, well, do it. And the only thing is the barriers to entry, it's extremely high. And that just adds to what Flora was saying earlier. As a young designer coming in, you think, well, how on earth do I actually start this? How do I get in? How do I getting your foot in the door is pretty hard. Finding a band that allows you to grow and explore your vision and gives you that freedom to just concentrate on the design and production, because Symone and I will still have to worry about the soundtrack, the food, drinks, you know, sorting out security, stewards, all of that. Some sections would also take that on themselves. But like in terms of influence, like I spend my life, my house is covered in books and magazines. I go to a lot of fashion shows. I'm always at the V&A. It's taking all these influences, not just from fashion in one country. You're looking at it globally. China, even the Middle East has come up quite a lot. They're using a lot of bejeweled pieces, fabrics from around the world. I went to China myself. It's crazy. You look everywhere, every possible Africa. You look at what they're using. They're using natural resources. Just gives you ideas how to use that too. Basically, whatever's available to you. I mean, mine would be fashion, but I guess you know it can come from anywhere.
Flora, what would you say your influences?
Again, pretty much everywhere. I sort of started out from a fashion-ish background, sort of making my own clothes years ago, you know, early secondary school years, and my slip into sort of the carnival world was almost by accident, because I went to Trinidad Carnival and island people gave me a costume that quite simply didn't fit. So I was in a position that it was Sunday, and I was just like, what do I do? And I thought, do you know, I make dresses, I make skirts, why can't I just do this? And that's literally where it came from. And then following that, I had a conversation with the former band leader of Poison, Wendell Clement, and that's how I got my foot in the door, based on him seeing my work on me. But my influence comes from what Kelly said, pretty much everywhere. I'm talking not just, obviously, you know, Trinidad Carnival is a great show. Because I play there, I think a lot of my influence does come from there. But it is everywhere. Magazines, fashion, and it was actually a conversation I had with Kelly last year. She wouldn't know this. But when I was asking her, again, the same question, because I think she's a wonderful designer, very talented, and I asked her, where'd you get your inspiration from? And up until that point, I was looking at fashion magazines, but speaking to her and just seeing the passion behind her eyes for fashion specifically made me even go out further and say, okay, that's what she does. Take a look at this area. And sort of, so I see not just other designers and other bands. I can't say there's any one place. I could see something in Tesco for all I know, and it would just be an arrangement. The arrangement or tins next to each other. But I like the colour placement.
I can't get my colour combination. Little things
because it shows you what really works. So it comes from everywhere. Absolutely.
So ladies, looking at your costumes and your bands, there always seems to be like a back line, a front line section, of this section, that section. But the majority of it, I mean, it all comes down to the price and what it entails. For me, all I see the costume as, I mean, especially the female costumes, they look great. A lot of jewels, a lot of fashion involved, everything is really, really great. But it comes down to just literally girls in a bikini.
I'm just going to have to stop you there.
Yeah.
Go on. It is not girls in a bikini. It's so much more than that. The way I like to explain to people, if you go into any retailer and you buy a garment and there are only 50 or 100 or 200 made, you're paying a premium price for that.
Absolutely.
If it was handmade, you pay an even bigger price for it. Yeah. These costumes from our band specifically are handmade. Each piece is individually placed on there. You're paying for not just a one-off, almost couture carnival piece, because we won't remake them. And because we make each one individually, not any costume is exactly like the last one. But in addition to that, you're paying for an experience. Like you buy a Glastonbury ticket and you go down for the day or for 2 days, or pick whenever you want to go. It's an experience. What a lot of people don't realise is that fee that you're paying for your costume not only gives you the costume, but you've got your lunch, you've got your breakfast, you've got your unlimited drinks for the entire day of that parade. It's not, you don't buy a costume, you buy a carnival experience. That's why I had to stop you with the bikini.
Kelly, would you like to add on that as well?
No, I completely agree, because we market it as a package. You will never see a costume up on a photo saying £225 for this costume. You'll always see £225 or £200 or £10 for the package. And the package, you list what's in the package, which is the sound, the music, the security, the food, the drinks. Everything for the day that you need to have a great time, great experience, is part of the package.
That's how we've got it on our website, as this is what you're getting, and the price is at the end with the costume next to it, so you can clearly see what you're paying into. And to be honest, it's pretty cheap.
But I mean, how do you entice your target audience to buy that whole package? I mean, what is it that you do? Because
you explain it. You actually explain exactly what they're getting. We have a lot of new. This year is the most I've seen, and it's not the wish. This is the most I've seen joining, and you literally have to do a hand-holding process for every single one. The length of the emails that you're responding with. If you can cut and paste your replies, you can't, because the questions are phrased in such a way that you have to get this person comfortable. What they all see is, I'm wearing a bikini in the public.
Yes.
What you're saying is, but no, you're not wearing a bikini in the public. Yes, you are, but it's when you have it and you're in this place, you don't actually see the public. You're in your zone, and unless you actually participate, you'll never understand the difference between being within that row to being on the other side of it. This is the worst experience. I've done that myself. You push.
That's the worst place to be.
It's the worst place to be. Just watching. It's the worst place to be. You never get it. It's like you're standing and watching life in front of you, just passing.
You see, your seasoned masqueraders know what they're buying into.
No questions asked.
They're like, no problem. I'll see you all July when I collect. Then you've got the new ones that you have to really coach. And I mean, I've had a conversation for 3 days with one girl about what she's getting, how she's getting it, how I'm making it, when I'm making it, when she collects it, if her friend comes, how many group, you have to go through all of that. And I was like, girl, just go to the FAQ page. She said, yeah, I read that, and it was more, and I thought, shit, we need to update the FAQ. So you have to coach them, and you can't be, I mean, as frustrating as it can be, and I've no offense if you watch this, I love you, but it's hard, because you have to really go detailed experience with with non-experienced masqueraders and newbies.
I was just about to say my phrase is newbies, but I do find that specifically with newbies, and both these ladies said exactly that. The questions that come back they're all on the frequently asked questions page. We spend hours constructing those pages, but we also then go the extra mile to spend the extra hours answering the question, because you do have to handhold them. It is that sort of process. But at the same time, I also note that my masqueraders, once they cross that line from spectator, they don't go back.
But I mean, getting somebody to part with such a huge amount of money, I mean, £250 just...
You don't part with it at once. You offer installments, you offer payment plans. I mean,
you're planning deposits, and then
you're starting Carnival right after one's ended. We have deposits that come in before people see costumes.
My first deposit was in January and hadn't launched yet.
Jesus.
She just told me whatever you want to put me in, and she was the first person to sign up.
Happens every year because you do get regular people that know what they want.
They
know
just want to stay there.
This is our passion as much as it is their passion. And yes, in much the same way, I mean, I go to Trinidad Carnival, and yes, I make a costume here and I have a section, but I also buy a costume in Trinidad and they strip it and remake it as Flora's edit. But I still have that, and once Trinidad is getting ready to launch in the summer, I'm ready. It could be the middle of my production, but I'll take that 20 minutes out to go and see what Trinidad has got. Because in much the same way, I am still a masquerader.
We're all masqueraders. At the end of the day, we're still all masqueraders.
I mean, like you touched on, the newbie, the person that is new to the carnival, they don't really know the culture or the history of it. Is it just a case of teaching them about it as well, getting them, you know what I mean, are there projects that they can go to, do you know of, or?
We get a lot of design students from fashion schools asking, they come in an interesting way. They come in and they start with, can I do an interview?
Yeah,
then the interview comes, it happens over a series of weeks or months in the lead up to Carnival. And by the time they get to camp, that is it.
Finished.
So and then at that point, you actually use them as a vehicle to take that out. They tell their friends, they're like, oh my god, I did this, da da da. They do the edits, they film it, whatever, and you take it out there. I mean, we use whatever clips, and I think last year we got filmed by the BBC. Two people came, two different sets of BBC officers came, and whatever was filmed, that footage is priceless, because you just send it out as far as possible, because you're not just trying to teach your people, you're trying to teach everyone. You're trying to tell people, look, you know, back to the same point. Everyone can join in.
Yeah.
We had that 2010. The government did a scheme to pay local organisations to get people to work for a project, and 3 of the girls who own that project are still with us today. Yeah, and so you know, once they come, that's it. They get an education and then educate somebody else and bring somebody else, and it's sort of just that word of mouth thing. So.
But they're teaching too, so whatever you taught them is what they're passing on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Carnival is our baby that's growing up.
So I mean, you mentioned the whole package, you know, bringing the costumes, the entertainment that comes along with it. How do you better that than another band or another private section that is out there? What do you do to make your package better than the rest?
For us, I'll take this one first. For us, exactly what we just said before, you're the masquerader. You have to always remember you're the masquerader. What do you want?
Yeah,
what's going to make it better for you? Yeah. You look at what other bands are doing, and you'll find everybody's doing exactly the same thing. You do the basic package, which is your cups, your drinks, your food, whatever. But then you think, I was playing on the road, what exactly do I want? What's going to make this best for me? So you come up with ways to make life easy for them on the road.
Yeah.
You come up with ways that, okay, so you've been drinking all day, at the end of the day you're going to want something to eat. Even if it's something small, you give them, with a woman, constantly watching figures. So you're going to have to give them fruit or something during the day. It's just small things that cost like nothing. But to them it's like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that, I didn't pay for that, it wasn't listed, it's an extra. It's an extra that actually is not wasted. It's something that, it's not like you're giving them something to put in a bag to take home, or it's not something that's, you know, there's no added value. It has to be added value on the day to make their life easy. That's kind of the approach I take, which I guess.
From my experience, I realised one of the things, when I started developing a team to help me with the band, I realised I've been working in retail and not taking some of the things that I do in retail to my band. And one of it was customer service, and it was about looking at it from a customer service point of view. And so we started to talk to our masqueraders more and ask them, what do you want and what don't you want, and you know, ask questions. We're doing it on Facebook every day, just asking questions. What do you like? What do you this? What's your best song? What's, you know, what fets are you going to? We just constantly ask questions, so then we can say, right, we're going to make the day like this and give them this at this time and offer this, and just like you said, a little attention to details that they're not expecting. And I don't know, the team are coming up with some crazy ideas. I don't know if we're going to do everything, but it's just about having a conversation and you know, hearing from other people that, oh, pull it off. And we say, well, why? You know, and it's okay. I don't take it personally. So, I mean, I always feel like it's room to improve, and we're not always.
And the negative feedback. And then obviously
feedback is the one.
Priceless.
There's a free survey thing you can do online, and we just email it and then put it out.
So I mean, Flora obviously is a bit of a different angle for you, because you obviously, like you said, you are a private section within a band. What is it that you can do, or what is it that you do at the moment to kind of entice people that you want to come with?
Well, obviously the decisions of the band aren't mine. I can have an input and I can make suggestions. My suggestions essentially stem from Trinidad and what I see there, because that is where I play mass. So things like, you know, the extra bits you get in the goodie bag, as Kelly said, the options at lunch. So it's not just rice, but give me something, because I am watching my video. So I don't want to eat a plate. I'm not wherever they got hanging out. now, but it is for me. I sort of take my experience from Trinidad, and I know obviously this is a long shot, but in Trinidad, for example, you get your makeup done, you can get your hair done.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that Eclipse are offering every single one of those options, so misunderstand me, but from that experience then I would come, and obviously it is not my band, so I would make suggestions to the band and say, is this possible, or what are we thinking of, and sort of move like that. So that's my opinion on it.
Finally, ladies, obviously Notting Hill Carnival, like you said, it is kind of 24/7, 365 for you guys, but for others it's more just a case of the 2 days. Where can people find you? What can people do? I mean, the social media, websites.
All of us will have the same. It's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of them. The Facebook page would be the basis point to find everything else. And ours, I mean, I would always urge people to go to my website first, because that's where the basic information is. All the FAQs that you're going to ask me. Me out at like 2 in the morning responding to emails, because I can't go to work thinking I didn't answer that last night. So I send people there first, which is www.backmass.com, BACCMES.com, and then from there you get regular updates on Facebook. But we also do a newsletter that's not published; it's actually sent to individually. I'm mailing this, and it tells you. It's very long. It's broken up into sections, and it tells you everything that you could possibly not think about asking. It's literally on this newsletter.
Flora?
Well, my website is www.mwdcarnival.com. www.mwdcarnival.com. The Facebook and Twitter /MWD Carnival. And as Kelly said, the vast majority of the information and sort of the bare bones of it will be on the website FAQ section. Absolutely everyone, every single one. But yeah, so
can people actually register, put deposits down on the websites?
But yeah, registration must be done via the website for my band. My section must come through the email. Otherwise, what happens is you find you get lost in the system. If you send it to me in a private message on Facebook and this. I mean, I don't want to brag and boast and say I get a lot of messages, but as a section leader, I actually do get a lot of inquiries and messages. So registrations have to go via the official email, info@mwdcarnival.com. And so that's how it goes. As Kelly said, Facebook is updated, and questions are asked, information is put out there, but most of the content, the best pictures and everything you need is on the website.
And for Genesis?
GenesisCostumes.com, just like the ladies, FAQ, registration, PayPal, the whole lot. You can pay online, you can deposit online, register online. We have a contact form page, and what we're doing at the moment now is once you've registered or contacted us, I have found this really great little text burst thing online, and I text, and it costs like not even a pence or something like that, but it helps me to actually get the information I want straight to that masquerader. So we do instant text messages.
Like you said, the customer service point of view.
So we're just trying to bump that up a bit more, make it a bit more personal. So GenesisCostumes.com.
So I know probably you guys are going to be on your way to the.
I'm going to eat.
Was there nothing involved in this?
Dinner. I don't know about dinner. But, I mean, obviously, we wish you guys the very best for 2014. Whatever you may do. I know you guys are doing extra projects on top of that as well. Hope definitely look to see you guys on the road this year.